Hello, world. Welcome to my first live stream. This is the OG Alex of Ethos Ananda. Thanks for coming. I will just make sure all the technical stuff is good. Okay, sound is good. Today, we will talk about how to cuck to COVID-19. Thanks for coming. I prepared a little bit of content, but mostly I'm just going to talk and see how it goes. I have some pictures. I'm living in Hong Kong now, so yeah, I went around town and taking pictures of, at the moment, just religious institutions because that bothers me the most. But same is true for businesses, even apartment buildings. Like anyone who's, totally selling out to this COVID scam, I thought I would expose a little bit. So this is also my first attempt at journalism, you might say. Okay, first, I'll read what I wrote. These are the guidelines for how to cuck to COVID-19. And after this, I'll just go on the definition of cuck, actually, because many might not know what that is. But I think you'll find this funny. Step 1. Make a long and tedious list, definitely nothing short, that looks professional and mature or adult-like. Number 2. Don't make any qualifications in language use. Use absolute words like never, always, and any. Basically, cognitive distortions. Don't use clear language. Number 3, tell people to regularly consume fake news and not treat it as fake. Number 4, make regular activities that have nothing to do with COVID be included in the list of things not to do. And number 5, last one, make sure that even after people are required to follow protective measures, such as covering your face, sanitization, they still can't be allowed to get close to each other. After all, we are not social creatures at all. And make sure to tell people to spy on others and get them to also participate in the racket themselves. Wow, this sounds great, right? I just can't wait to be a part of COVID-19, COVID-20 and COVID-21, and it will never end. Okay, let us look at the definition for a cuck. For those who don't know, and even those who know, this might be interesting. So this is urbandictionary.com. Just search cuck. This is what will show up. So here's the origin of the word cuck. It's actually short for a cuckold, as you can see there. I think it should be spelled with an H, actually. But anyway, a man who lets his wife or girlfriend have sex with other men. Often, the man lets her do whatever she wants and treat him like shit. Man, that's not the best definition. A cuck is really someone who will watch and masturbate to the other men enjoying his wife. That's really what a cuck is. I mean, a cuckold. Now, when I say how to cuck to COVID-19, I'm actually referring to this newer definition, which is what many people in the alt-right and other, modern political groups, the way they might use this word cuck. A man who is desperate for acceptance, approval, and affection from women. This desperation has led to the compromise of his beliefs and values, the desecration of his dignity and self-worth, and his inability to stand up for himself and what he deserves as a human being. e.g., loyalty, fidelity, and honesty in a romantic relationship. So this one is actually pretty close to what we're talking about. The difference is we're not talking about a man, we're talking about an institution, and we're not talking about sex or relationships. We're talking about our values. The difference between, maintaining our values and holding strong to them, regardless of whatever basically Maya, this material world, will throw at us, whether it's COVID-19 or any other BS, or, cucking to Maya. That's really what this is. There's a scam in the material world. There's scams everywhere, right? And it's saying, whoa, if I join the side of the scammers, I can make money, and money is good. And yeah, I might have to lose my values and my purpose in life and my meaning in life and other things that are way more important. But hey, this is what everyone else is doing. I should just follow the pack, right? Oh, I didn't know it has this. I've never seen this before. You can, within the definition, some words are highlighted, like desperation. It says, sometimes used to provoke the opposite sex by not going to the bathroom and arousing the other sex when the said person who, and then it doesn't. I guess these are other words on the dictionary. Yeah, those are just other words that have already been defined by Urban Dictionary. Those are ordinary words. Okay, we'll close out of that. Here is example number 1. A mosque. This is a huge mosque. This is in downtown Kowloon, Hong Kong. I'm not sure the name of it, but if you can read Arabic, it's right there. Yeah, so I wanted to show this. So this, you really can't see how big it is from this picture, but I wanted to show here that this is just right from the entrance, right? So you have to be really far away to see how big it is. And I just didn't care to do that. But my point here is just that in a huge building like this, especially like a mosque or a temple with a massive amount of open space, tall ceilings, this is actually much safer for, viral infection, epidemiology sort of stuff. You can at least, just put a quota on the number of people who can show up to the mosque and, require them to wear face masks and whatever, if you want to. And you can still be open and run your business, and that's no problem, according to the science, because if we are allowed to walk on the street, let me show you a better example of this. I went to Don Quixote, a Japanese superstore. There's a bunch of these in Hong Kong and a bunch in Japan. Really cool store. They have really strange, Japanese gadgets like this one, which I'll probably buy, even though it's almost $100. A portable Toto bidet. So it's battery powered, and you can, get a nice little butt spray after you relieve yourself. It's much cleaner than using toilet paper. And, if you're in Southeast Asia, in other countries, there is a sprayer next to the toilet, which can work, although it can be sometimes messy. This one, you can see it's a very straight spray line. It's much cleaner. And here in Hong Kong, in my bathroom, I don't have a bum gun. I don't have a hose next to the toilet. There is a shower head, which you can use, but then it just makes a mess everywhere. So I'll probably buy this. Here's a huge watermelon from Japan. Now, you can, if you look at the feet, you can't really see, sorry. I didn't want to take a picture of how crowded it was here. It was just insane. I got claustrophobic very quickly. But if we're allowed to go to these grocery stores, especially in a city like Hong Kong, where it's so crowded, like you can't walk properly, but it's fine because we're just wearing a mask. If you can do that, why can we not go to a mosque, which is bigger and less crowded, even if there's no restrictions, like let's face it, guys, most religious buildings today, temples, mosques, synagogues, whatever, they're not packed. Like that's not a common thing. Even in the East, in the West especially, like most churches are just museums where you take pictures of the pretty statues and stuff. No offense, guys, but that's what it's come down to. And yeah, this is just ridiculous that they've closed down. So here's the notice that they said. On 28 July, this is just a few days ago. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum, WRWB. Not sure what that is. Please refer to latest announcement and press release issued by the government of Hong Kong SAR to further tighten social distancing measures. Okay, that first sentence is completely useless and a waste of space. Going back to our guideline on how to cuck to COVID-19. Oh yeah, look at this. We can get it right next to each other. Make a long and tedious list. Definitely nothing short. But it looks professional and sounds mature and adult-like. Wow. So they use a word like press release. Wow, that's really nice. That's the same as latest announcement. It's the same thing. Like if I was grading this as an English paper, I would mark it off and say, sorry, minus 10 points for redundancy. Issued by the government of Hong Kong SAR. Just say the government. Like we're all in Hong Kong. We know what you're talking about. I guess Hong Kong is different because maybe they're talking about Beijing or maybe they're talking about Hong Kong. That could be tricky now, but just say Hong Kong or the government or the local government. That's all you need to say. To further tighten social distancing measures. How can you tighten a measure? I'm not going to look too deeply on this because I think, like many people in Hong Kong, English is their second language. So I just think, this is how they worded it, but it is technically incorrect. You cannot tighten a measure of a distancing measure. That makes no sense. But why did they say it that way? They want to scare you. Tighten is a physical word that, if I tell you to relax or soften your breathing rate, you'll go, oh, that feels nice. And if I ask you to tighten your breathing, you'll go, you won't feel good. It's literally a command to not feel good. It's a hypnotic command to not feel good. And let's see, that probably fits another point here. Anyway, let's check on the comments for a second. Nothing. Okay. Next, the Incorporated Trustees of the Islamic Community Fund of Hong Kong. Why isn't that an acronym? But okay, has decided that with effect from Wednesday, 29 July 2020 at midnight, wow, they have to use the exact time. They're so special. This is just really professional, right? But useless. It's already dated at the top, 28 July 2020. Oh, but they want to say 29 at midnight, so the full day of the 28th is you can still come in, I guess. Okay. All masjids and madrasas, I don't know, I'm assuming that's Arabic for like any kind of religious building, I guess, under the management of the Board of Trustees will remain closed until further notice and until or unless any further announcement is made by the government of Hong Kong SAR. It kind of says signed at the end, the Islamic community, whatever. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so basically what they're saying is we're closed until further notice. And maybe, this is actually what I like about them. They didn't cuck as much as the other one I'm going to show you. They said until, what does it mean? Unless any, they're still cucking because they're saying, oh, we're just doing this because the government wants us to, and we're scared of the government. So in that sense, they're cucking. Cuck basically means sell out or shill, but you might not make any money off of it. So this is why cucking is worse than selling out. Like I would respect these mosques and other religious And businesses, if they were closing up but also getting like more money, like I would honestly respect that more than if they just get scared and close and lose business just because someone told them to. It's fucking ridiculous. The reasonable thing is just say, hey, come in, be careful, use a mask. You can put a quote on it, like only 100 people at any certain time for a huge building or whatever else, and just, continue with your life. All right. That's that. Now, this is another religious institution that I am staying close to in Kowloon. I won't say the name, but those of you who know me closely can probably guess which religious affiliation this is. So, all right, just take a look at this. I mean, this is a massive page of stuff. It is so long. There's so much here. Like, this is really quite amazing. Okay, and I highlighted some things here so you can see how interesting this is. In order to protect your and others' health, please be mindful of the following regulations when visiting the temple. Okay, so I highlighted be mindful. What does that mean? Does that mean that I have to follow the regulations or I don't? Or they're not regulations, they're just kind of guidelines? What does that mean? But it sounds professional and it's very sensitive to others' feelings and self-esteem. So that's good, actually. Yeah, mindful of regulations. The sum total meaning of this first sentence is just like, here are some rules. That's all they're saying. Check it out. Here's some rules. You don't even need it's kind of just an introductory sentence, but you don't even need to say it. There's no meaning here. You can just say, dear humans, comma. Moving on. If you have a mild fever, cough, or symptoms of pneumonia, don't come. I actually agree with this. I think this is a good idea. And I would like to see this more at other businesses because it's at least an attempt at rational, ways to do things. Point 2, if you have any travel history in the past 1 month, don't come. I should have highlighted 1 month too because that's ridiculous. It's supposed to be 2 weeks. It's a 2-week quarantine and it's a 2-week, way that the illness goes through your body, allegedly. But that's not good enough for these people. They know more than the scientists, of course, even though they're saying we're basing this off the scientists. So it's not 2 weeks, it's 1 month, okay? We're being extra careful. But here's the key word, any. If you have any travel history, that's ridiculous. It's simply irrational. For example, let's say Hong Kong they have 200 new cases per 100,000. I won't even say per whatever. Let's just say 200 new cases a day for the past 2 weeks. And you travel for a full month to a region like Fujian, which has 20 new cases every day for the past month. So you're traveling to a safer area and then coming back, and you would not be allowed to come. Or maybe you can't come because we're just supposed to be mindful of the regulations. Yeah, I can, if we have time, I'll also look at the travel restrictions for countries like Finland and Germany and all. Like, they do the same thing here where they make this really long, convoluted list that contradicts itself so many times. And what they're doing is they're hiding. They're hiding from their own sin and pushing their sin on us, which is evil, actually. It's a kind of evil. Not a huge evil, but I mean, that's actually the category for this kind of behavior, technically speaking. All right, next point. If you have been in contact with anyone who has travel history within the last 2 weeks, don't come. Okay, again, anyone. That's point number 2 here. Don't make qualifications in the language use. Yeah, just say everyone, anyone. don't bother to be rational about it at all. So like if oh my God. So not only am I not allowed to go to a safer area and then come back, if I'm just next to someone who did that, oh, I still shouldn't come either. And of course, this one is 2 weeks instead of 1 month. And of course, there's a very specific reason for that, which we will never know. Next point, please regularly check updates about the COVID-19 from relevant sources like the WHO, local government, and health professionals. This is probably the worst one on the whole list. Okay, please regularly check updates. That's saying, please watch the news. That's what they're saying. And if you are awake, even if you're totally secular, not religious at all, if you're like more than 50% awake as a human being now, you know it's not a good idea to regularly watch the news. That's a horrible idea anywhere in the world. That's like really dumb. It's not just that it's fake and there's misinformation. It's that the way it's presented is it's in the mode of ignorance or passion. It's not calm, it's not peaceful, it's very agitated. It's acting. They act like they are authorities who are telling you the truth, and we know for sure they are not. And honestly, I don't think anyone should watch the news at all. I don't see any benefit of that. Even alternative media that I watch, and you could classify myself and Ethos Ananda stuff as alternative media. I don't ask everyone to just trust what I say 100% of the time. That's why I don't put any effort into, looking like a news anchor, like, oh, you gotta make sure the lighting is, it's gotta be perfect. I mean, I could do better there, but I'm not. I'll never be on that level that they're doing, because there's just like, one, I don't want to trick other people, and two, it's like, I'm here to talk. I'm not here to perform for you. I'm just here to spread the word. And I just need a camera and a microphone and not naked. Like literally any kind of shirt is like, that's enough. I should have shaved, but I did. Okay, WHO, we know they're full of BS. So asking a religious institution, which is supposed to be beyond the material world, maybe not the institution, but the belief behind it, that God is in control of everything, and then telling their disciples and devotees that we should not be following God right now. We should be following the WHO, a material, strongly material, scientific, atheistic institution. Yeah, this is also evil. Because first it's vice, because they have not put in the work to find the truth that, oh yeah, God is actually in control. And if you're a devotee of God in any religion, you will devote yourself to God, not to a country, not to a business, not to any of that other stuff. You can just devote yourself to God. And then underneath that, the way in which you can devote yourself to God can include certain countries and businesses, and et cetera, and so on. So I am a teacher. I teach English. It's not the most fancy pants thing in the world, but I'm doing that because my work as a teacher is used in service to God. God needs teachers in this world to raise people into being good people. It's good service that God loves, I love, my students love, their parents love. And so I do it, but I don't devote myself to the teaching above all else. I devote myself to God above all else. And teaching is just one of the things that fits in the bracket, like also following the law. That's also something that's important. But when there's an unjust law, I don't follow it, because God doesn't love people who do that, which is what we're talking about. And anyway, so if if for whatever reason you're a religious person, a devotee, and you think that we should blindly obey the WHO, that's vice. That's sin. It's not a serious sin, but it's a mistake. Like you messed up. You didn't use your intelligence correctly, and you're on the wrong path. Now, if that vice and sin you keep to yourself, I'm okay with that. I'm literally totally okay with that. You can be my best friend even. That's fine. I have my own vices and sins. I'm not claiming I'm perfect, but to take your vice and sin and put it on a list in public and enforce it on others, that's evil to me. Now, I haven't, as far as using a Bible like Bhagavad Gita or ethos to actually make the argument that this is the difference between vice and evil, I haven't explicitly, concretely done that yet, but the principle is there. And look, the reason I'm sharing this now is because it's common sense. And not only is it common sense that I think everyone can agree with here, but I don't know what that comment is. What is I talking about? Yeah, nobody's talking about ethics now. They just say fake news or non-fake news, but it's way deeper than that. Like the institutions like WHO and people who are supporting them, it's evil. It's demonic. It's not just like people have this weird idea that like we're all decent and like, we're all in on this together. Like it's true that we're all seeking happiness and we're seeking relief from pain and suffering, of course. But, some people make the wrong decision again and again. That's called vice. And then they're not okay with just making a mistake and repenting and trying to do better. They need to get the whole world to accept their vice as if it's actually virtue and more people to be vicious. Like that's evil. And then within the bracket of evil, there's small evils, big evils, stinky evils, tolerable evils, and so on. But yeah, as a professional, as an academic, as a teacher, like, guys, this is evil. Like, and I don't mean that in a judgmental way. Like, that's like my diagnosis of this situation. And I hope you can prove me wrong, because I don't want to think that I'm surrounded by evil, but that's what it seems like. Health professionals, that also falls under the list of not making any qualifications. Like, which health professionals? Especially in Hong Kong. Are we talking about Beijing health professionals? Hong Kong health professionals? Japanese health professionals? Independent ones? Public ones? Private ones? Like, that's a massive difference. Okay, put your shoes on the shoe rack beside the lift. Don't bring your shoes into the temple area. Yes, it's a temple. That's always how we've done it. Like, that, we already knew that. That has nothing to do with COVID-19. Why is that here? So that's point. Make regular activities that have nothing to do with COVID be included in the list. Yep, that's what this is. Next one. Before entering the temple area, please use the disinfectant beside the main door to sterilize your hands, clothes, surface, bags, and belongings. Okay, once again, this is just way too long. You can just say use sanitizer on your stuff. Like, this is in Hong Kong, guys. Many people listening here don't even know this culture here. Like, the way people speak is not like this at all. They say, it's like, so when people ask me to put on the mask, they a lot of times they don't even say anything. They just say, yeah, put it on. Or they say, oh, dai koja. It's like 2 syllables or 3 syllables is how you say anything in Chinese or Cantonese. So it's just like, yung sanitizer. You sanitizer. That's how they talk. That's how we talk here. But when you're writing out something you have to sound, different, which is disingenuous, of course, but, this is a deeper problem that started way before COVID-19. But here's the problem with this. Don't just sanitize your hands, sanitize your clothes surface. Wow. I mean, I like that they said surface, because if maybe I'm stupid enough where if you say sanitize your clothes, that means the outside and the inside and every square inch of every part of my clothes I need to sanitize. Oh, just the surface. Okay, yes, I can do that. For my shirt, pants, everything, socks. Okay. Once again, not using any qualifications here. Bags. I need to sanitize all my bags. Doesn't say the surface there, so I have to sanitize the inside of the bags too, of course, and my belongings. Hare Krishna, look at this. This is my Japa bag. This is my belonging. This is one of the most precious belongings I have. I need to sanitize this. That is deeply offensive to God, I think, right? Isn't that deeply offensive? He's not pure enough for you. You need to sanitize him. And every single bead on here too, don't I? According to these regulations I'm supposed to be mindful of. Sure. Please wear a face mask in the temple area. That's fine. While in the temple, keep social distance with other visitors as far as possible. Okay, so I underline social distance here because this is something that is universally cucking. Everyone is cucking to this. The whole world. Social distance is double speak. There's no such thing. You're either social or you're not social. If you're social, you're together and you're close. If you're not social, you're far away. There's no such thing as social distance. You mean physical distancing, which we all understand. Or just say distancing. You can just say keep distance with others. Why do you say social distancing? Because we're not supposed to be social anymore. Because you are, in charge of, perpetuating this nonsense, evil in the world. Once again, this is not just this religious institution or another or a business or a country. It's everyone is doing this. Every time you use this word social distancing, you're making yourself prone to cognitive dissonance, or you're literally infecting cognitive dissonance into your unconscious mind, which will deeply disturb your intelligence anytime you want to think clearly about anything. So that's really important not to do that ever. Next, all public gatherings and festivals in the temple are still canceled until further notice. Okay, problem there is just the word all. And also public. This means that the devotees and monks and people who live in the temple, they can still do whatever they want, but just the public ones are closed and canceled until further notice, and all of them, yeah. So if there's like a minor one where we can do that, not many people will come anyway, and yeah, we can just observe all the other regulations, putting our shoes away, not coming if we have a mild fever. Even if we follow all the other regulations, we're still not going to have even a small public gathering or festival here. Okay, gotcha. Last one, please inform all your friends and family of the above regulations. Really? So my friend in New Zealand who will never come to Hong Kong, I need to tell him about your rules here? How about my family in America who are not devotees and will never come to Hong Kong? I need to tell them too? Oh no, I just need to be mindful of the regulation to do that. So maybe I have to, or maybe I don't. I don't know. So that was our last and final point in how to cuck to COVID-19. Make sure people Make sure to tell people to spy on others. Get them to participate in this racket themselves. The more people we can have sharing this fake news, this kind of evil propaganda, the better. Because then it's not our problem. It's our collective problem. So I'm not individually responsible anymore. Yeah, this is how evil works. Evil, not vice. Evil. Vice means you make a mistake, you're aiming at the target, and you miss. And if you simply just admit that you missed, that is, repent, and just try again, especially if you're surrounded by virtuous people, that's fine. Like, we can live in a very vicious world, actually, and be totally fine. But, yeah, I see I have a guest here. Claire, how's it going? I'll be talking to Claire tomorrow about, oh, let me stop sharing. Yeah, I have nothing else to share. And I'm getting a bit hungry with lunch, so I'll stay a bit longer. But I have nothing else to say. And this stuff is just garbage. There's so much ethical, social, cultural garbage in spewing all over the world now. So what I'm doing personally, I'll just tell you all for anyone who cares, I am trying to GTFO, get the F out of here. My plan is to go to rural Lithuania. Okay, Lithuania is a tiny country no one cares about. That's important. And I will go to a rural area within a rural country that's cheap, like dirt cheap. And as long as people leave me alone, I'll leave them alone. But the closer they get to me to enforce this evil on me, the more I will fight back. And I don't think you'll like that when I do that, especially not the Alexander way, which we know how that ended more than 2,000 years ago. And yes, Claire, I agree. We should have gone for herd immunity from the beginning. And many other dumb things. Like, I don't even know where to begin here. Oh, yeah, the old prostitute from Lithuania. Don't we all know a prostitute from Lithuania? Story of my life. I would stay. Oh, I just need something for my throat. I've been talking too much. To be fair, I've given this whole list on how to cuck to COVID-19. So I should make an attempt to make a list on how to not cuck to COVID-19. But actually, if I go too deep into that, then I can get banned and in trouble because, that's another part of evil. It doesn't allow goodness. That's another part of the definition of evil. Whereas vice is fine, and virtue is fine, and divinity is even better than virtue. But let's see here. Okay, we can just invert everything here. So how to cuck to COVID-19. Make a long and tedious list that looks professional and mature adult-like. Okay, let's just revert that. If you want to not cuck to COVID-19, make a short list, parsimonious, right? That's, I don't want to say unprofessional or not adult-like, but just clear and easy to understand. Which I already showed examples of that earlier. Don't make qualifications in language use. Yeah, we'll invert that. So instead of saying all public gatherings and festivals are canceled, you could say, just say most. Just say most public gatherings will be canceled. Stay tuned. That's all you need to say. Or some. Or just stay tuned to see which public gatherings we will do or not. You see how that's reasonable? And like virtuous, because it's still admitting the fact that there's a virus going around and we should be careful, but we shouldn't be so careful that we're tyrannical. That's the golden mean. That's virtue. All right, so what is the divine response to COVID 19? That's actually what I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm divine, but because COVID 19 is so evil, it is so fake, there's so much illusion and conspiracy in it. The most divine response is to simply not participate in any of it. Like, just claim complete ignorance. When someone says, oh, you need to wear a mask, just say, huh? What's a mask? And they'll hate this too. It really works well when you see, the key is you have to not only claim ignorance, but you have to do it from a place of knowledge, a knowledge of the higher path. So if you're in a country like America or New Zealand, Australia, this is much easier to do because there's rural areas. In Hong Kong, you can't do this really. But in America, you can say, oh, I was just down at the ranch. Yeah, we don't have a TV anymore. You know, we don't do the social media anymore. We think it's all garbage, actually. So, yeah, what's going on? Oh, there's a virus. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm just going to go to the store and come back. Is that okay? No, that's not okay. Really, I am not allowed to go to the store. What? I need a permit to go to the store. That is really strange. Wow. And so also you have to be polite the whole time, right? And not sarcastic, not cynical. Like this is this is the divine transcendental response. It maybe is a better word, where it's like you're claiming ignorance from a place of knowledge. So I think that's why it's transcendental. Yeah, Claire, I agree. You know, one way you can just say the government should have gone for herd immunity. That's what we used to do. So one of the common examples is like smallpox. When we were kids, some kid down the road would get smallpox and they'd say, hey, go play with him, go get smallpox. And then, yeah, you know, we have the medicine, we're ready to take care of you. And when it's, or chicken pox, sorry, chicken pox. And then when you get the chicken pox and then you get over it, you get antibodies, you get immunity, and you get over it. This is a natural vaccine. This is what people have been doing for decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years. I don't know, but it works. Like, we know it works because we've been doing it for centuries. I don't know how Lithuania is dealing with COVID-19, but it is definitely not good for me. Okay, here's something I will share. So now we're going to go into travel restrictions. So this is the easiest site I've found to look at how this is going. So look for the green, no restrictions. Belarus, you might have heard him in the news, Alexander Lukashenko, I think his name is. He said, man, I'm 65. I have coronavirus. This shit ain't nothing. This is a scam. Get the hell out of here. Tanzanian president says the same thing. He is hilarious. He sent cell samples of mango, papaya, and I don't know, coconut to the WHO to test for coronavirus. And all three of these, they said, yes, it's positive for coronavirus, so you better go on lockdown. And they said, oh, really? Zero lockdown here. Bye-bye. Let's check out Lithuania. All right, here's the important part. 80 deaths as of 4 days ago. The fact that there are 80 deaths of anything, virus, plague, genocide. See, you can't even call it a genocide if it's 80 deaths. That's not even mass murder. That might be like a few school shootings. Like, it could be mass murder, but nothing more than that. Look at this. Look at all this shit here. This is what, it's just shit. I don't even need to read it. There's 80 deaths in an entire country, and they're like, oh, geez, well, we better open the border. Some people, but not others. It's virus, we're really scared. This is cucking. This is how you cuck. There's a tiny thing that happens, which is not that bad, and then you freak out and you go, oh, we better close our borders. Oh my God. It's begun to ease its travel restrictions. Okay, that's good. Yeah, if you have low rates of COVID-19 from another European country, you can come in. So when I may have to stay somewhere else for 14 days before I come in. Oh, this is so confusing. If their country of residence has not exceeded 25 cases. So does that mean this is so dumb. Like, residency is a legal term. For example, last year I had a residency in China because I had a work visa, a work permit, and a resident permit. So that was my country of residence. But here, are they saying in the last 14 days, that means just where I was living for the past 2 weeks? I think that's actually what they mean, but it's just they use the word residence. So that makes everything all confusing, contradicting, and dumb. Oh, here's really interesting. Passengers crossing a land border from like Latvia or Poland, there's no controls. They're not even checking anyone. It's a complete sham, right? Like, oh my God. If they were really cared about some viral infection invasion type of situation, and they're just going to completely open all the land borders, but only be worried about the flights coming in, and there are some ferries going to Lithuania, I think. That's it. All right, now let's compare that. Let's see. Any comments? Yes, Claire, we should. It's more than that. Not only should we be prepared to die for our principles, we should be happy to die for our principles. I was happy to die for the truth, whatever that actually, how you means. That's been my main thing, is truth in general in my life. I was ready to die for truth when I was in high school. Like, I was literally a boy, and I was totally fine for that. That was normal, like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, for most European men, no problem. Of course you'll die for your principles. Of course. Like, the fact that that's like even up to debate now is really where we're getting to the deepest part of the problem here. I'm not sure what the British did to Spain, but I do know that UK and Spain have just had more cases. But the UK has remained open for a long, long time. Finland is really confusing. Finland is like the main point of entry to the EU area. Helsinki airport is really common. Okay, once again, 329 deaths in a country of, I don't know, 10 million or something? Like 8 million? Let's just say 5 million. That's still ridiculous. There's no cause for concern there. Germany, Frankfurt airport is another one I might come into from Hong Kong. 9,000 deaths. Ooh. Okay, you can transit through Germany. That's good. Yeah. Only a resident can come back. Why the hell is that? If I'm coming from a country like, I mean, there's way more countries that have a low rate of COVID-19. You think it's just Canada and New Zealand? It's because they want fancy, white people countries here. It makes them feel better. Yeah, that's the whole point of having principles, is to die for them. Otherwise, it's not a principle. It's just something you like. That's what a principle is. That's what a Bible is. A Bible is not just a book that's like really old and special. It's something that you place at the top of your hierarchy and the bottom too. It's the foundation and the ceiling for your whole life. Otherwise, it's not a Bible. Even if you go to the temple and you do the prayers and you Taiwan is starting to open. That was nice. They've been completely closed for a while. Lots of South America has been really screwed. Well, here's the thing with South America. Their economy has been screwed because look at all that red. They're just shutting down everything, so their economy is screwed. And because they're already in not a very strong economy in the first place, like, they're screwed, man. It's gonna take so long for them to come back. Now, here's one thing that's funny. Slovenia, a small country that's in the EU region, is totally open, basically. It's reopened its borders. So this is actually where I'd really want to come in. Oh my God. And there's no quarantine if you're a citizen or resident, but a quarantine if you're not a resident? That's nonsense. Either you have the virus or you don't have the virus. Why are we talking about residency at all? This is completely irrational. Oh my God. So that is it for me. I'm hungry. I don't know how many people will see this. I'm going to post this as an audio only version podcast, maybe edit it a bit. But all right, so how do you get over this stuff? Because honestly, guys, I am over this. Like, emotionally, I'm not actually bothered by anything what we've been talking about. But yeah, it's disappointing. That's my feeling. I'm so disappointed in our whole human race now. That's why my plan is GTFO. And I'm an American citizen, so I do have the right to return back to America. And there are farms and ranches, and there are places like that where I could go. But America is is evil. It's one of the capital nations of the world of evil. It's U.S. and China and probably Saudi Arabia. Those are the big players of Maya, ushering in Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, ignorance, hypocrisy, and quarrel. So if you want to live a good life, don't quarrel with others. Don't be hypocritical. Don't be ignorant. Just invert everything and you have the good. So by me pointing out the bad here, you already, it's implied the good is within the bad. You just invert it and then you have the good. And look, guys, I cannot, if there's something specific about COVID-19 that you're struggling with, I don't know if I can help. You can, Jesus. I'm just I'm so beyond this stuff. I don't even know how to approach people who are suffering from this. I'm in the tiniest room here in Hong Kong. What you see is the entire room. There's nothing in front of me here. It's just a wall. There's so many places I'm not allowed to go into, but guess what? I'm really happy. I'm totally fine living here. I'm going to stay here an extra month, actually. I just don't know how to be upset or sad or suffering about this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's really disappointing. This whole species of ours is fucked. This is truly horrible what's happening now for, once again, ethical, cultural, social reasons. It has nothing to do with a biological virus. That's a distraction to hide yourself from what matters. Our principles, our values, God, our culture. our family. That's what matters. And when you focus on those things and you put everything else as secondary, you'll be fine. You can handle anything, COVID-19 or anything else. So on that note, if you want to learn more about ethics, you can read my book, which is the best book on ethics in the world. Because it's Aristotle's book. I didn't write it. Aristotle wrote it, but I reimagined it and made it way shorter and easier to read. It's only 400 verses. I will probably even put it out for free soon. I'm not sure. I've been thinking about it. Like, I'm definitely going to put chapter 1 for free on Instagram, so you can go learn more about that. I also do coaching in virtue and other areas. You can hit me up about that. I will help you for free in that for sure. And if you like this, you can subscribe. Hit the bell. You have to hit the bell. Because even before this stream, they're already shadow banning me. The AI, the algorithms, they know how dangerous I am. Anyway, that's it for me. Stay wise, y'all. I'll see you next time around. Next week, I'll try to find a better topic, which is perhaps relevant but more positive. Bye-bye.